Welcome back to episode 3 of our actual play Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, and the scenario we are playing is No Silver Linings. And previously, in episode 2, our investigators gleaned a bit more information. We had Charlie Mitchell and Professor Montgomery Miles scoping out the local library for the recent goings-on in the village of the Silvermines, and they did note that back in 1874, the long-running operation of the mines ceased, and a bustling trade of copper, zinc, and of course silver just ended, and mines were left derelict for quite some time. But they also learned back in 1915 it reopened for some drilling, apparently under a resource mining operation led by the British government. But that again swiftly came to a close abruptly in 1917. But that was about all the information they could glean. While in the library, however, the professor found that they had been tailed by that mysterious person in wearing a tweed jacket and carrying a notepad with him. Revealed himself to be none other than Sean Doyle, a local reporter for the Guardian News, looking to glean a bit of information as he wants to spread the truth, as he so proclaims. But Charlie and Montgomery swiftly dismissed the reporter's attempts on exchanging information, but they did, however, take his card just to be safe, just to make sure that they may or may not need his services in the near future. Meanwhile, while our two studious investigators were doing their thing, Ulick and Benson went to the police barracks where they hoped to glean more information from the authorities, and they were met with heavy resistance. The authorities were not very forthcoming. However, they did get an audience with Sergeant Fitzgerald. They didn't think they were going to get one, but luck was on their side. But again, met with a brick wall of resistance there. The sergeant even made it a point to take a note of Mr. Cartwright, who is visiting from the United States of America. The sergeant thought he fancied himself a private investigator and thought that maybe some matters were left not in his hands. But there you have it. The party reconvened at the behest of Carl Sullivan, who very kindly offered to offer them boarding for the night at the Sullivan family house in Silvermines. Ulick was particularly tempted at the prospect of whiskey, and with that, the investigators made their way to the Silvermines on a cold, chilly October night. As they entered the small village, Charlie Mitchell felt this strange, kind of ominous presence for a brief moment, where he heard a voice. He not even fully sure if it was passing in the wind, maybe he even misheard, or perhaps a voice in his own mind saying, "Release me." Before we get into the action, let's just do a little round of introductions. Let's start off with Dave.
Hey, hi. I'm Dave, DM for the Software Saga here on the Emerald Collective. I'm playing Ulick O'Shea. And Ulick is a 32-year-old man who was who fought in World War One, had a strange occult experience, as far as he's concerned, in the trenches, and then was summarily committed to an insane asylum. And now he's returned to his hometown of Silvermines, and they don't like how mad he is.
We all do, though. Next up, then, Keith.
Hello, my name is Keith Allen, and I am here to have lots of Cthulhu-based fun, which is already happening. So welcome to episode 3. I am in charge of the character Charlie Mitchell, who is a landowner of kind of British birth initially, but a British family, but we're 4th or 5th generation here, so fairly local. Out the road of this Silvermines area, and more than a passing interest in the occult. And that has kind of led me here, as I've heard the rumors of some sort of unsavory and unusual activity happening. So I've followed those rumors here to the town of Silvermines, met up with these unusual other characters, have already had a bit of an unusual experience with Ulick. But I think Charlie is having a good time and is looking forward to, secretly I think he's having a good time uncovering these mysteries and getting his teeth into something like this. But he's just passed into the village and has experienced an unusual sensation. So he's not looking forward to finding out what that's all about.
Maybe subconsciously he is.
Yeah.
Very good. Next up then, Ryan.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan, aka Deranged Rhino, and for episode 3, I will be playing Montgomery Miles, or should I say, Professor Montgomery Miles. I am a studious person. I teach and make sure that people learn the ways of not only history but of psychology. And yes, this is a very strange place in which we found ourselves, but we are trying to work out what's going on.
Very good. And last but certainly not least, we have Dean.
Hi, I am Dean Tierney, and I am playing Benson Cartwright. Very interested in anything strange and unusual, anything supernatural. Likes to read about it in books, has read an awful lot about it, but really wants to get right up to his nuts in it. He's adamant that there's more to this world than we know, and in his own words, he wants to lift the veil and see what shakes loose.
Very well put. Very well put indeed. And of course, I am Mark, your keeper, as always, for this Cthulhu-soaked mystery. So, let's pick up where we left off, as we are entering the village of the Silvermines. Charlie, you heard this strange voice. It was a kind of a deep-seated voice, but you can't be 100% sure if, the events of the day has tired your mind and you're just hearing things, but all the same, I would like to ask you to make a sanity roll, because it's not every day you hear an uninvited voice.
No, this is 2 sanity rolls in the one day for poor old Charlie. Let's see how we get on. Charlie has a sanity of 60, so again, just to clarify rules, I have to roll 60 or under or 59 and under?
60 or under.
On a D100, so that's pretty good chances. Let's see how we go.
You said that now and put it out into the... okay. That's a
34 out of 60. So that is good. That is what they call a success.
That is still only 1 sanity loss. So even on a success, you can still lose sanity. But on a failure, you would have lost a lot more.
So I have lost a sanity, have
You've lost 1 point of sanity. Because it's not every day you hear a voice in your head that, isn't just a fleeting thought or a intrusive thought or anything like that. This was something that was definitely something else, but you can't really quite place it for obvious reasons.
So was it something that was in the car? Was it like a whisper into my ear? Was it kind of like...
You think it might have been a whisper in your ear, but you're also not sure. You think it might have just been in your mind. And you can role play that out as you see fit, but it would be, with a point of sanity lost, it would be quite distressing.
Yeah, I think Jared is kind of like, as I mentioned, he's kind of like, he's definitely of the culture and the society of the kind of like the upper class. So I think stoicism and kind of like, I don't think anybody else in the car would have seen him, like, he doesn't show that much emotion. So I think he would have held it together a little bit. Actually, I think he might. I think, considering the situation, I think he actually might tell the rest of them what happened. He might be holding it together, and I think he might be like, "Did anybody hear anything? Was nobody heard any voices? Anything being spoken there at all?"
No. Just then?
Like, obviously not me talking, but before I heard a voice saying, "Release me." No,
Oh, this is excuse the question here, but was it into your ear canal or was it within your mind?
To be honest, it's a little. It's hard to explain, but it was. It definitely didn't sound like I heard the words very clearly, but if this makes sense, but it sounded like someone was speaking them, but someone wasn't speaking, but I could hear them. If that makes sense, it's maybe it's just been a long day, and he kind of like sits back and kind of like just.
Do I get the feeling
stares
that
out the window?
like was this something he kind of really experienced, or was it just that idea of maybe someone nodding off and it's just kind of that kind of dream-esque kind of thing? Like, how much do I believe him?
And that is something for your character to decide upon himself.
Was that in your mind, was it?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, it's look, it's been a long day. Let's I suppose at this stage, it's not offering anything to the investigation.
Well, I'll offer something, I'll tell you. That's how the puka talks to you. You hear the puka in the wind. Sometimes on nights where there's no wind, the trees are still, the bushes don't rustle. Yet you hear a groan and a whisper in the air, and that's the puka talking to you. Sometimes if you listen hard, you can hear words, warnings, promises or threats. Got some pretty good.
There is no sound evidence to prove that a puka may be of existence.
I tell you what, why don't you disprove the existence of a puka to me? Then we'll talk.
Now you're talking existential. That's like saying you can prove whether the air is there just because you are breathing it.
I think at this stage, Charlie would have kind of like sit back into the car or sit back into a seat, and he's kind of like glad that this kind of like sub argument has kind of like developed, because it's kind of distracting. Because I think it's, again, as we had earlier on, when he looked into Ulick's eyes and kind of like got some sense of what Ulick has experienced. I don't know if he's ready that much for the reality of this. All of this being theoretical, and he's enjoying, meeting up with these people and going to the library and, reading about things and researching and, being on an adventure. But I think when these little flashes of potentially the reality of this start coming through, I think that's unsettling him a lot. So he kind of, even though his initial reaction was to kind of like, because they're in investigation mode, was to throw it out, that thing that he heard, even though he didn't have any kind of like basis for what it was, whether it was a voice or something in his head or anything like that. The fact that this little sub argument about the reality of the puka has developed and kind of taken the spotlight off him, he's happy enough to kind of like settle back into the dark during the car journey and like let the guys have that discussion.
So Montgomery's now pulled out like a little notebook and a pencil of his own kind of thing. Tell me, Ulick, when you hear this puka, does it come to you in voices that you recognize?
I've seen the puka.
Oh,
I've seen it take many forms. And I've also heard your tone of voice spoken through many mouths in this town. The same wry look in your eye. The same sarcastic, sneery smile and words.
Well, in that
I
case,
don't appreciate your tone, sir.
In that case, allow me to apologize. It's not meant sarcastically, despite how I might sound. I have a general and genuine interest in everything possible. So if this is something that you do really believe that has happened to you, I very much would like to document it.
How can you document something that you don't believe in? You just asked me to prove the existence of it. Why are you
I
taking
just wondered
notes on
if you
something you
had
don't
proof.
believe in?
But I mean, there's many notes made across all of history of things that people can't only believe in. Have you never heard of the Bible?
Oh, believe me, a lot of people in this country are very familiar with the Bible, the people that wield it.
Exactly, but there's no found-in evidence to prove it's true or not true. It's something that has been written down and something that people take, excitement and derive an engagement from. And it would be the same from any information you could give me regarding this buka.
The Bible's a book. It exists. Someone wrote it way back in the beginning. That's fine. The shite contained in it, that's up for discussion, though. Now, what I will say it is, right here in Silvermines, you will get all the evidence you need. I'll tell you what, if you don't make the puka tonight, in this fella's house, you will come to my farm the following night. You will hear it knocking on the windows. You will hear it scratching on your door. You'll get all the evidence you'll need.
Benson's in the seat of the car and he's lighting a cigar. Just rubs his face and goes, "Are we there yet?"
I would be glad to do that. I would love to have that opportunity to make note. And he puts away his notepad after writing down what he has heard from Ulick.
And as the conversation draws to a close, Cottle is already kind of turning in towards the center of the village, and his car is coming to a steady decline in speed as he pull up outside actually one of the larger sized houses in the village. This is a two-story dwelling that has just kind of square in shape, but quite large, given the size of the other kind of little bungalows lined up around the place. The car pulls up and calls as well. Here we are, lads. Hopefully the trip wasn't, I suppose, too hard on you. I kind of tossing a cautious glance at Charlie, and because he obviously overheard the conversation as well, he was just kind of keeping it to yourselves. I was like, come on in, I'll get you fed and I'll get you watered as well. And opens the door to the old two-story house, and you enter.
What do I know about this place?
You've never actually been inside it. This was Jack Sullivan's house, and
This is the place that I would have passed.
No, that was Peter Houlihan's.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
but you would have passed by this house many times as well. This is kind of a bit more in the center of the village, and it's. But you've never been inside it. You would have had no reason to be, I guess. Jack was a very private person himself at the best of times, but as you set foot.
What is like the measure of this house, like from the outside? Like, is it broken down? Is it
No, it's kind of, look, it's not run down, but it's not in pristine condition either. It's an old house, and you can see kind of around some of the window frames, you can see a nice kind of few clumps of moss starting to grow, and you can see that there's a lot of kind of weeds and sprigs sprouting from the roof, but it's by no means run down. It's just not very well kept, we'll say.
Okay, cool.
As you enter, you notice that the house is quite disorganized, and Cahill makes a point to note that as you enter. Please pardon the mess. Jack wasn't, I suppose, the most well-groomed of gentlemen, and I've only been here a couple of days. That and I wanted to kind of preserve the house as it was until this nasty business has been dealt with, and that end. My brother has been missing for quite a few number of weeks, so you can appreciate that some of the rooms may be a little bit unsightly, and the house might be a little bit on the damp side.
Of course. I think.
But please follow me. He kind of leads you inside the house. And as you enter into the hallway, you can see straight away a staircase in the center of the hallway of the house, and 4 doors, one directly to your left, one to your right, and then there's one further down to the right, and then past the staircase at the very end facing the front door is another door, and he leads you straight down that one and into a kitchen that already has a gas lamp lit, and he's getting together some plates and bowls for you gentlemen. He goes, through there is the parlour. The kitchen table is rather small, so apologies. We won't be able to eat around the kitchen table as a unit, but please feel free to use the parlour if you so wish. I'll join you in just a moment.
Might we have a look around?
Absolutely, yes. Upstairs is the master bedroom, my parents' bedroom, which I am using, and also Jack's bedroom, and another spare room. And there's also a spare room down here as you come in the front door to your left. There's another spare room there, and parlour then is to your right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So what I'd like to do, if I can, is I want to basically go around. I want to look for writings, scrawlings, kind of madman sketches, that kind of thing. That's what I'm looking for specifically.
Okay.
Benson wants to quietly say to Ulick and say, I want to go to your house and hear these voices of the puka. Not yet, but later.
We'll go there tomorrow night, or else if it's a quiet night tonight, I'll walk you over. You need to be careful though, the roads are tricky.
That's fine.
The back lanes will break your ankles.
That's fine. As he's saying that, he takes out like a cloth glove, and I'm running my fingers over the edges of any edge to find any indentations or anything carved into any woodwork anywhere. Around the frame of a door or a window ledge or a table or any drawers.
Okay, very good. So as you kind of begin your investigation in that regard, Professor Miles, where are you beginning your investigation?
I'm going to probably start it in whatever they would be considering the front room, whether that be the parlour or if there's a sitting room or something. Yeah.
So you enter the parlour, which seems to be much neater than the hallway and the kitchen that you've seen. You kind of imagine that this is where Cahill has been spending most of his time these last couple of days in Jack's house. It's much less dusty anyway, to say the least. There's 2 armchairs and a couch all facing a fire that has not been lit yet. On either side of the hearth are 2 kind of cabinets, and you can see on one behind a glass pane that assorted liquors, whiskey, scotches, and glasses, decanters, the likes, are all there. A lot of kind of paintings and portraits. They're more kind of landscapes, kind of scenic kind of paintings are adorned along the wallpapered walls. Although the room is clean, you get that kind of dusty smell from the carpet as well. Can I ask you to make a spot hidden check, please?
Sure, absolutely. I've got that tick now from last episode. What does that mean in regards to this?
Nothing. It just means even if you succeed, it's already ticked. So.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a bonus thing or something.
No. It just means that at the end of this scenario, your character can level up.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna need it with rolls like that.
So that is a 71 over 25. Okay. So again, that is pretty much the size of it. That's all you see in the room. Nothing really out of the place, or nothing kind of catches your eye, I suppose, as it were.
Okay. I guess I'll kind of move on to the next place, really.
Yeah, and while Benson and the professor are doing these things, what's everyone else doing? What's Charlie and Ulick doing?
I think Charlie is taking the books that were given to us in the library. We got a couple of books out in the library, so he's probably going to start thumbing through those and just eating his stew.
Okay. Presume you're just going to take a seat in one of the armchairs in the parlour and just crack open the book.
Yeah. Maybe get a little glass of whiskey to keep me going.
Okay, I might actually also ask you to make a spot hidden check if that's the case, if you're going to
We can in a way.
partake.
For God's sakes, that's 80 over 55.
Oof.
You spot a whiskey with a really good year on it, a really tasty year, and that kind of grabs your attention, so you're busy pouring yourself a glass.
Pretty focused after that. I would just like to point out this is also the third spot hidden check that Charlie has failed in this game.
You know,
No
it's
successes.
a good point to note that sometimes in Call of Cthulhu, failing spot hidden checks is a good thing.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be useful
Sometimes
until there'll be
you
like
might
a
see
fucking
something you don't want to
monster or
see.
something.
Yeah.
Then I'll succeed.
Very good, Ulick. What about yourself?
So Ulick will go first to the front door, and if there's a key hanging off a hook, he will make sure he'll lock the front door. He will go to every window in the house, muttering under his breath, and make sure the sash is down, and he'll click the lock in, and he'll close the curtains on every room, including the spare room. And that's pretty much what he's doing. He's muttering to himself, and he's looking over his shoulder. He seems extra twitchy to be back in the Silvermines again.
You, as you're walking around from room to room, Ulick, you notice that, again, the majority of the rooms are dusty. There's stuff kind of tossed everywhere. Clothes, kind of stacks of newspapers, and clutter, basically. You notice that what you presume to be the master bedroom is significantly more cleaner than the other rooms. You assume that this is the room in which Cahill is staying in. Not really too much. Again, you're only going in to kind of check the windows, close the curtains. You don't really kind of spot anything too out of the place there. But you enter another bedroom that is kind of, as soon as you enter, could I ask you to make a listen check?
Oof. Look, he was in World War One. There was a lot of explosions. He's got 0 on this.
Your listen skills looks to be at 0 for some reason. That's
Sorry, what was that?
right. You rolled a 19 over 0. Your
Yeah.
listen should not be 0. Your base listen is 20.
Oh,
So that would
is
be a
it?
success.
How is my base listen 20? So, what did I do wrong there?
I think it might have just been a glitch on your character sheet, maybe. But a 19 is actually a success.
Oh shit. So let me just change my listen. Then it should be 20.
It should be 20, yeah. So as you enter this room, it's a dark room. Like the light from the hallway comes in, but the room is painted in like a dark blue. A single bed is on the hardwood floor next to a locker. A few items of clothing kind of scattered here and there. As you turn your attention towards the window and the curtains and aim to go over there and close it, you step on a floorboard and it lets out a significant creak. And when you look down, you can see that there's a little gap in the floorboard you just stood on. Like it's a significant enough gap that you think you might be able to kind of shimmy it a little bit.
He'll close the door behind him. Is there a key in the lock?
No.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah. Okay, so yeah, he's going to take out his pocket knife. And actually, this is one thing that I meant to ask you about. I didn't see when I rolled up my when I rolled up my character. I noticed there were firearms when we started the game. I didn't see how to add them.
Does he have a firearm?
Well, he would have a rifle at home that he would have brought back from the war.
So that would be your shotgun rifle skill.
Okay, so how could I have sunk points into that, and can I maybe take a few off some of the things and sink that?
Yeah,
in?
we can retcon that if
we can do it after the fact. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
You can,
absolutely,
cool.
absolutely.
Just wanted to make
and
sure
if you're ever attacking with a small knife or a regular knife, it would be just fighting brawl.
Grand. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So he'll whip out the pocket knife, just kind of pry it loose.
Yeah, and it easily comes loose, but you wouldn't have noticed it unless you either stood in it or you were really kind of studying the floor. You remove this little kind of 2x4 little panel of wood.
Sorry, this is the spare room or the master bedroom?
You don't. This wasn't the master bedroom.
Okay.
Anyway. An unused room.
Okay.
And you remove that little small plank of wood, and inside a little hidden cubbyhole under the floorboards, you find a small brass key and a book. It looks to be like a ledger. And I am going to give you, I presume you're going to take it, or
you will.
have a peruse. I'm going to give you this handout that you can read out to everyone. It seems to be the first page you open up is of this kind of old ledger that would be used for, bookkeeping and whatnot. But the contents of this ledger is nothing financial related at all. If you'd like to read it out.
Yeah. Cash flow. Cash flow and transactions. The miners, not actually miners at all. The archaeologists from various academic institutions over there in the England land. Peter and I snuck into the office and found a list with all their names and did some research. Following the names of the academics: Harry Weston, George Townsend, Lloyd Baker, James Easton, Jeffrey Killings, James Boyd. It'd be a great name for a spy. William Davies, Vernon Allen, Simon Keane, and Christopher Sutton. What were they looking for? Keane, a Forbosh Stalker, and Fair Gallac, Sikhiel and Cabon.
Can I ask you to make an Irish language skill check?
I didn't even know that was a thing. Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
In the character sheet. Why did I fucking pick that?
You can pick any language that exists and have it as a skill.
Didn't even know you could do
This is a Call of Cthulhu scenario set in Ireland.
Okay, yeah. So where's the languages then?
If you didn't add the Irish skill, then you don't have it.
Well, surely I have a 1 in 100.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll just say we're all doing 100 then. Boop. No.
Yeah, you're not really too great with the Irish language. You're not really sure what that means.
Dave just got 70. 70 over 1. That's a super duper failure.
Duper duper.
So the bits with the Irish language now isn't you're not really sure what that says, but this seems to be a ledger containing lists of miners, but no, maybe archaeologists, 10 of them, and 4 of the names were circled in black ink. Did you happen to say what names they were? I'll just say it again anyway. Of all the 10 names, the names circled were George Townsend, James Heaston, William Davies, and Christopher Sutton. What that means to you, you do not know.
Yeah. So the last window that he closes and locks, he'll stick the head out. What's the weather like?
Dry but cold.
Yeah. Cold, is there a breeze?
There's a kind of nippy, slightish breeze, yeah.
Okay, so he'll stick the head out, and as he looks out to the left and looks out to the right, he look up in the sky and he goes, "They're only staying a short while. You leave these boys alone." I need to just close the curtains.
I presume you're taking the ledger and the key?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, and the other rooms kind of all perfectly normal. So I presume you return to the rest of the party.
Starty boys. Where's your man?
No sooner do you say that does he come through the door with hands full of plates and kind of dishes out the food for you. Goes, there you go, gents. Dig in.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Absolutely. The least I can do. So, as he sits down himself in one of the chairs he brought in from the kitchen, he sits on one of the kitchen chairs that he brought into the parlour, kind of rests the plate on his lap and starts to eat. So, how fares the investigation?
Not so bad, no. I meant to tell you lads, I ran into a lad in the town called Christopher Sutton. He's asking questions. I look at him for a reaction.
Okay. He's like, and what does this Christopher Sutton say? What does he have to do with this?
I don't know. I think he might be working that lad in the fucking in the papers. No reaction at all.
Papers?
I believe that was a Mr. Doyle, not a Sutton.
Oh yes. Well, I mentioned it to you chaps earlier on. We were in the library, and Monty here spotted the chap who was apparently telling us must have been doing a damn good job, 'cause I didn't spot him at all. But we confronted him anyway, and he's a chap by the name of Sean Doyle from the Guardian News. Now, he claimed he was looking for information from us, and claimed to have his own information. Now, for the look of the thing with the public and stuff and whatnot, I denounced him and sent him scurrying. But I did happen to take his card, and I don't know. Call Mr. Sullivan if you are interested in speaking to him. He might have something. I mean, I didn't want to speak about your brother's death, or share any information with the newspapers, scurrilous stuff and all that. But
no. This is actually this may be beneficial. May I have that? He'll kind of extend a hand to retrieve the card.
Of course, there you go. Yes.
Maybe while you gentlemen are out investigating in the morrow, I might head back into town, and I might have a chat with this Mr. Doyle and see what I can glean from this man.
Capital stuff. Yes, didn't want to speak on your behalf, but
absolutely.
I think it might be worth having a chat to and see what he knows.
Absolutely, no. I give you my thanks. You did the right thing. I'm very trusting very much of all of you gentlemen, your discretion in this matter, and I will speak to the press myself. Thank you.
Is his reaction to that more about investigating what this guy might know, or is there anger in there about tabloids?
It seems to be less anger and more like, well, it's kind of, he kind of say, well, it's an inconvenience that the press are involved, but maybe they know, maybe I can squeeze a bit of information out of them.
Okay, info is info. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just to be sure that you got what I was doing. That name that he dropped was one of the circle names.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool, grand.
He didn't have a clue who that was.
Cool, no worries.
And did I, having sat for whatever length of time, or do I need to sit for a little longer with the books that we found we took from the library? Was there anything?
You'll be reading that for the night before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll settle into that now.
Yeah. It's a bit of a read.
Great.
Tell me, Mr. Sullivan, what was your brother's life like? Was he here alone? Did he have children?
No, he never married. No children. Carpenter by trade. Himself and that Houlihan fella, they worked as a unit. They've done a lot around the village. Making furniture and roofing some houses and things of that nature.
So what was their purpose within the mine then?
Well, a bit of a dreadful story that, I suppose. Did you know that you obviously knew that this was once a mining village? The mines closed back in the late 1800s. Well, generations of our family worked those mines, and I suppose Jack would have had a keen interest in mining when he was a youngster, but obviously never came to fruition with the closure of the mines. And, resources dried up. The price of silver, copper, lead, and zinc, they all dropped. Business is business, I suppose. I moved out of here and pursued a different line of work. He was always interested in those damn mines.
And if you don't mind asking, did he ever get involved when the mines reopened? Was he involved part of that at all?
I know very little about that. I just know that it wasn't a local affair when the research institution got involved. They came and did some experimental drilling, looking for any more ore veins that are lying around, but as far as I'm aware, it didn't last very long.
They didn't include the locals.
No. That was a private affair. I think it left a bad taste in some of the locals' mouths, actually. But
sorry, so you said this was a research trip? Who was conducting the research? Do you know?
Oh, I'm not sure. I just know that they sent a small group of miners to the village. When I say research, I mean that they were conducting experimental drilling to see if there was any more ore veins that they could utilize. But
And was this academic or was this purely economical?
oh, I would say it was economical. I can't see any reason for an academic side of things, but maybe some of the locals, maybe if you go around the village tomorrow morning, they might. Now, having said that, as I said, their villagers aren't very forthcoming with people out from the outside, especially when it comes to talking about the mines. The mines is a key element to their history here, and it has once been, I suppose, utilized without the locals being involved. And as far as I know, I don't think they were told very much about the operation anyway.
Bit of a touchy subject, then, is it?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Tender point. Yeah.
Speaking of a touchy subject, Peter O'Houlihan, sorry. Did he go missing, or was he away with your brother before he went missing?
No, he never went missing. As far as I'm aware.
My question is, did he leave at the same time?
I'm not quite sure. As far as I know, he was most likely the last person to see him. But when he was interviewed by the authorities, their investigation came to a close with that Houlihan fella. He seemed to probably have an alibi, or didn't know anything, or wasn't involved. I'm not sure. I just know that if anyone knew where Jack went, it would be him.
That seems to be our next line of investigation, then, boy.
Indeed. But it's getting late. How about a whiskey, a nightcap?
That sounds pretty nice, actually.
Now you're talking.
I enjoy your use of the word plural for whiskey.
Indeed. Warming the belly, you know. This house is old and it can be quite cold in the dead of night, so.
For Montgomery, based on his, teaching of like history, psychology, that kind of stuff, and obviously trying to read books and stuff and get himself more acquainted with that, would he have any memory of any of this? And also from what Charlie had dug up earlier, did this ring any bells to Montgomery at all?
In relation
from his learning? To do with the mines opening, what they were conducting.
It kind of marries up with what you've read in the papers you found. There's no discrepancies anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wherever we're staying, are there like mats outside the doors or any sort of carpets that can be lifted outside our bedroom or bedrooms?
Yeah, I'm sure there's old mats lying around the place that you could use if you like, yeah?
Yeah, it's not even to use.
Actually, do you know what? Make a luck roll.
Are you bollocks?
See if you're
49 out of 55. Get
it. Yeah, there are mats lying around.
Get it all up and around you. Right, so Benson's going to drag a mat to the front of his door, and inside his trench coat, we bag of gravel. He's putting the gravel under the mat, so when he goes in, if anybody steps on it, you'll hear the crunch. The alarm clock, wake him up.
Okay. As well, and I forgot before you guys go to bed. Now that Benson and Ulick are in the room, I might ask you both to make a spot hidden check in the parlor, please.
Okay.
All the whiskey.
Spot hidden. 35.
Success from Dean. That's 20 over 35 for Benson Cartwright.
Nice.
20 over 35.
It's weird. I'm trying to click the thing. It doesn't work.
Well, now you might need to see a doctor for that.
Just for the listeners as well, because anyone that's listening may probably know of me and my roles. I accidentally did a misclick and got a critical success. So once again, I wasted any good luck I have.
On an own check. I don't even know what that is. What's an own check?
Regular own is just the English language or whatever your native tongue is.
Critical success on your ability to speak your own language.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That was a failure.
Oh shit, it's 87 or 45 for D.
Okay, so
but Benson has succeeded finally.
Benson has succeeded in the spot hidden. So as you're all kind of sitting back in the parlor and kind of having,
must be good whiskey.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's you're drinking 18-year stuff.
It was a very good year.
It was a very good year. As you're kind of sitting back and kind of mulling over the investigation and just swapping ideas, swapping notes, that kind of stuff, Benson, you just kind of sit back in the couch and your eye kind of catches the liquor cabinet. You've all kind of gone over to it at some point to kind of refill the old glass, and you notice that one of the cabinets has not been opened. You've gone to one of the presses, for a bottle of whiskey, another one to get a glass, another one for, whatever else. But this one hasn't been opened. It's kind of like in the center of the cabinet that it's one of those drawers that, it has, you kind of pull it down and there's a compartment inside. But you notice that there is a keyhole on it.
Like a roller bureau type thing, is
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And Cahill has not made any inkling or reference to that drawer.
Ulick hasn't showed the guys yet because he's waiting for Cahill to go. What, the things he found?
I'll just make that a point to note then, if you want to sit on that, Benson, for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he has the key, so Benson.
Yeah, but you do notice a locked or a potentially locked drawer.
Yeah, Benson takes a mental note, break that later.
Okay. With that, it gets to the wee hours of the morning. It's past midnight, and
speaking of wee hours, Ulick will just open the front door and he will wander out just to have a pee in the hedge.
Oh, very good.
And just listen to what's going on out there, see if he hears anything strange.
Benson's keeping his boys right. Benson's standing in the doorway, not obviously trying to see him having a piss, making sure nobody takes a piss on him while he's having a piss.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He kind of wobbles out and he's kind of muttering about, Taisha, I know you're here. You will leave these lads alone. You have a wee and wobble, close his eyes and drift off for maybe 20 seconds and wake up and realize, I went there for a pee,
No, you don't hear or see anything out of the ordinary.
He'll wobble back in.
Okay. Kind of as you're entering, you see enter the parlor. You see kind of Cahill kind of getting up out of his chair, and he kind of fixes his the suspenders on his just over his shirt. And he goes, "Gentlemen, I believe a good night's sleep is in order now. Where which rooms you'll be staying in tonight?"
No.
Well, I have the master bedroom, and there's 3 other rooms. So I'm afraid, Ulick, unless you want to go home this evening, one of you may have to take the couch. There's 2 more bedrooms upstairs, and there's one on the bottom floor. So
I'll go home tonight.
Okay, very good. But you can decide on the rooms yourselves, gentlemen. Good evening. I'm going to go for a rest.
Here, gives you in that bottle, will you? Just
absolutely.
Help you off the way home.
You can take that with you, no problem at all.
Right. I'll see you lads in the morning, bright and early.
Good night.
And
look.
With that, Cahill kind of shuffles up the stairs, and you hear the sound of a door closing moments later.
Well, I guess it's a good idea for us all to settle down. Mr. O'Shea, I don't believe it'd be a wise decision for you to make your journey home this evening.
I know this place like the back of my heart.
I'm sure you do, but
actually, I've never seen the back of my heart. The back of my hand.
Okay. Noted. We must get you a mirror, apparently. I would insist that maybe you stay.
Well, you don't get to insist. You know, ask me to stay. But I'm gonna go and check on my little dog. Make sure he's fed. Hasn't shagged in the carpet.
In that case, could I maybe suggest that maybe I would come this evening instead of tomorrow to possibly witness this puka?
No guarantee the puka will show up.
Oh, of course not.
Puka shows up when the puka wants to show up. It'll be when you're at your worst, when your defenses are down, when you're your most tired and ground down. The puka will be there, haunting you. 2 miles down the road, let's go.
Okay.
Bring another one of them bottles.
That sounds like a country song.
Do you know any songs to sing? The pukas love to hear singing.
I wouldn't know too many songs now, but I'm sure I could come up with something.
I'm sure we'll tell you what we can make one.
That sounds pretty good.
We make up a song. Nothing pleases the pukas more than a song they haven't heard.
And he's kind of you can see that he's kind of looking and he's making a mental note of that to make a physical note of that later on.
And before they walk out, he'll say, you know something? There's stories of the devil around here as well.
I mean,
do you believe in the devil?
Well, as an agnostic, I believe that there is the possibilities of such things, but I wouldn't necessarily believe in the thing.
An old story of Silvermines. The devil hates this place so much, he walks around in clothes of gold in order to mock the town of Silvermines, but more importantly, to make his temptations more appealing. You see a man walking through the fields in clothes of gold. You don't look at him. You don't look near him. If he asks you for directions, you run. You run like fuck, boy.
Noted.
All right. Now, let's go.
I'm more and more concerned about what the fuck's in that treacle.
He pulls out the jar to check in it,
Mushroom
and it's full.
Oh, shit.
Mind if I do?
He's got a jar of endless treacle.
2 fingers of treacle.
So yeah, I'll head out with him then if we're going.
He'll throw the overcoat on, wrap the scarf around. If
Snippy out there.
If one of Carl's hats are on a peg hanging off the wall, he'll take it.
Yeah, let's say it is. Why not?
And Montgomery will fold up the collar of his, jacket that he wears, kind of pulls in the buttons a little bit harder, and puts on the flat cap he wears as well. And yeah, heads on after Ulick.
Very good. As Ulick and Professor Miles walk the 2-mile walk back to the O'Shea residence, Benson, Charlie, are you doing anything before you retire for the evening?
I think Charlie is just going to get back to reading those books.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to get through as much of that as possible, so he might fill himself up a glass, maybe take out his pipe and fill himself a nice little bowl of tobacco and have a smoke and just stoke the fire and settle into the armchair.
Very good.
Have a bit of a read.
Benson's going to just sit and sip the whiskey until Charlie goes to bed. When he goes to bed, I'm going to set up my wee gravel mat at the front door, or front of the door, the door of the bedroom, and I'll take the downstairs bedroom closest to the front door, and set up whiskey glasses on the windowsill, so if anything opens the window, I'll hit them. All just wee tropes of making sure I get a night's sleep.
Very good. So, Charlie spends another hour or so.
Empty whiskey glasses, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Charlie spends another hour or so bringing it to maybe 1:30 in the morning before he decides that maybe he needs his energy for the morning, and you retire for the evening, or for the night, shall we say. And Benson, you kind of, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after that, you retire to single story, or the ground floor bedroom, shall we say, and you do your gravel mat and your glasses along the windowsill, and you settle in for the night. You pull the covers over yourself, and just as you're drifting into a nice sleep, a whiskey-induced sleep, can you make a listen roll, please?
Oh no, there's a 32 over a 30.
We spend a look.
I am all the back of the net.
2 luck points. Burn that shit.
How do I take the luck off?
You have to edit your character sheet.
You just pop in and you just subtract it. So you're subtracting 2 luck to turn that into a.
Ulick is just an eye away from you, look, O'Shea.
You don't hear anything on the gravel mat, and you don't actually hear anything particularly with the glasses breaking or anything like that, but you hear, just as you're drifting off into a sleep, so this bedroom is facing the street, you hear faint footsteps, then heavy footsteps, and then they just stop. Then you hear another couple of footsteps that sound close to the window that's facing the street.
Benson's laying in his whiskey, almost asleep, but the pistol's pointing at the window.
You're not getting up out of bed, you're just kind of...
No, laying there, pistol pointing at the window.
It's not exactly a full moon out, but maybe it'll be a full moon soon, because there's still a significant amount of moonlight. That is because, the street will be pitch black otherwise. And you can just see this kind of faint, just through the crack, through the curtains, you can see the shadow just kind of stop with those heavy footprints. You have your gun pointed at the window. The silhouette just kind of lingers there for a second. And then you hear the footsteps walk on again. Doesn't interact with the window at all. But someone stopped outside the Sullivan household for a moment. Maybe it was Ulick back to take a piss. Maybe it was some random villager, or maybe it was someone who
poking their nose in where it shouldn't be now.
Exactly, but
Nice.
Time may tell in that regard, and I think that's a good place to leave it for today.
Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
That was a great episode, yeah.
Once again, thanks to everyone for playing, and especially thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks for tuning into the Emerald Collective, guys. You will catch us next week for episode 4, when things really start to get spooky.
Don't forget, we're over on the other side of the house. We've got a lot of streaming going on over on Twitch. So a
Absolutely.
bunch of actual play streams. So check those out.
All of calamari.
We're not just podcasts, we're live streaming actual plays too. So yeah, tune into those. Check us out at the Emerald Collective. Thanks very much, everyone.
See you next time.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks for joining.